This is Contractor Sense with Ruth King.
Welcome to Contractor Sense. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matters to your contracting business and you. I'm your host, Ruth King. This episode is sponsored by HVAC Trust Books. Go to hvactrustbooks.com to discover how this tool can help you close more sales. Thank you for joining us. Here is how we will help your business and you today. Sales, you absolutely can't live without them. My guest today, Larry Van Sant, took over his father's plumbing and HVAC company when it was around $750,000 in sales and grew it to $15 million before he sold it. Then, like most entrepreneurs, he got bored. So what did he do? He started another business. He was always great at selling, so he invested in the Sandler franchise and now helps contractors and others across the country sell more at higher prices and doing really cool stuff for their companies, their customers, and themselves. Larry, welcome to Contractor Sense.
Thank you, Ruth.
Pleasure to be here. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you, and it's really kind of fun to have you on here because I've seen, what you've done in helping contractors and helping their salespeople, and it's really a process, isn't it?
It is, and that's a great thing about what we provide now at Sandler. It is a process, and when we say a process, it can be repeated. And if it doesn't work, then you don't have to repeat it. But if it does work, you can look at it and repeat it and continue to use it and have a lot of success with it.
So I'm a contractor and I've got, let's say, a salesperson, or even if I'm selling myself, there's a very repetitive thing that we can do to help close more sales, correct?
It is.
Cool. So what is it?
Well, I think that the one of the things that really I've really stressed with the contractors is that they stop selling features and benefits. We start selling solutions. So why are the people buying from us? What is it that they need? What type of a product do they need? The 14 SEER? Do they need 18? Do they need 22? What is it that they're looking for? Features and benefits make us a commodity type of product. Every heating and air conditioning company is the same. You can buy the indoor and outdoor unit from almost anybody, but the difference is finding the solutions and finding the right contractor that's going to provide those solutions for their client and prospect.
And we're looking at this, no offense to Carrier, Lennox, Trane, York, Rheem, Rude, or I apologize for leaving somebody out. We're looking at an entire sales process, not just selling that particular brand of equipment, correct?
Absolutely. The whole thing about Sandler is that we are, when I used to at my company, we basically made sure that we sold the solution so that we could also determine if it was important to the client, whether they had 24-hour answering service, whether they had 24-hour response time, whether they wanted a live person answering the phone. Did they want people that were NATE certified, or did they want people that were not certified that may have to require them to take additional days off? A lot of questions differentiating how that equipment is installed. And Lennox and Rude and Trane, they're basically selling their features and their benefits, but it's really the contractor that makes the difference.
Right. And a lot of times, going and talking to two Lennox dealers who have similar prices, who do they trust more?
That's right. We really encourage you to be a trusted advisor. Find out if they have a problem, what that problem is, which is what we call pain, and if we have a solution to their pain. And we determine if we have a solution to their pain, if we can do it within the budget that they're looking for, and if we can work with the decision-making process that they are looking at. I mean, if they're strictly going out and getting 10 bids and they're looking for the lowest price, the contractor has to decide whether he wants to play in that sandbox with them. On the other hand, if they're looking for a contractor and looking for, NATE certified techs. They're looking for the very best in warranties. They're looking at the installation process that is going to guarantee them that it's operating within a certain percent of the manufacturer specs. That may be a different company altogether, and they can't afford to do it at the lowest price.
And you probably don't want that unless you're, moving in 2 days and you're doing this simply because you have to close your house or something along those lines. Most people who are going to be in their houses for a long period of time, at least from my perspective and what I've seen over the years, are looking for the highest quality, not necessarily the lowest price.
Absolutely, because one of the questions that we brought up is how many days have you had to take off with your existing system? I mean, you think about that and what people are paid today, and that can be an extremely large amount of money. I've had to take off 5 days because of this thing breaking down, and they never had the parts. Okay, yep. So 5 days of vacation time or whatever, there is a value there, and we really work with the best contractors that are looking to really differentiate themselves from everybody else.
And one of the things that I know you've taught me over the years, and I've learned over the years, is that we always bring up money up front, because the worst thing to do is to go through a proposal for 2 hours and they say, well, I can't afford it. That would drive me insane.
Budget, we've always been taught over the years, it's impolite to talk about money. And we have to really put what we call that head trash out of because I've had people that have sold jobs that they didn't get them because they had a conception about money and they didn't ask the budget. And the budget was $30,000 and the sale was $22,000. And we have we have the reverse of that, Ruth, in which the actual budget might be less than what you can do it for. So one of the things that we really encourage people to do is to ask about the budget. And, we do that in a very non-intrusive way and basically say, I typically at this point, we like to talk about the budget. Some people have them, some people don't, but, regardless, I don't know if you have one or not, but if you'd like to share it with me, that would be great. If not, how about if I give you an idea of where this is going to be? You can tell me whether, we're in the ballpark or we're not. That way we at least know what we're looking for from the standpoint of the dollars. And if they say, well, that's way over what I was expecting, and say, well, okay, so these are some of the things that you wanted. Would you be willing to look at things that we might be able to take off, use different equipment in order to get that number, or is it over? Because the bottom line is we want to stay on the right side of the money line.
I've seen my clients,
and the right side of the money line is being paid. And if we're spending time with a prospect that can't afford it, or we don't have a solution to, or the decision-making process is something that we really don't approve of, like getting 10 or 15 bids,
most salespeople and technicians never
that's
ask
a waste of our
one
time.
question that most customers
and we're not going to get paid
about,
for that.
Yet never ask. Exactly. All right, when we get back from break, we're going to talk about your witness protection program and how to get out of that. All right.
All right. Very good.
All right. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching, or thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. What is it? A trust book with your name on it as the author. More details are at hvactrustbooks.com. Warning, there is only one contractor per area that can get these great books. Some areas are already taken. They've gone to my clients. If you want your area and want to have a tool for your salespeople and technicians to increase referrals and sales, then go to hvactrustbooks.com now and reserve your area. I've seen my clients' salespeople struggle when a customer asks why they should use your company rather than the competition when your price is higher and you both are proposing the same equipment. I've seen technicians struggle when customers ask them whether they should replace an 18-year-old air conditioner. And most salespeople and technicians never ask the one question that most customers are concerned about, yet never ask. Can I trust you? I found a tool that gives your salespeople and technicians the ammunition to answer this question and more. And the tool works. How do I know? 68% of my clients are using it to increase sales and referrals. What is it? a trust book with your name on it as the author. More details are at hvactrustbooks.com. Warning, there is only one contractor per area that can get these great books. Some areas are already taken. They've gone to my clients. If you want your area and want to have a tool for your salespeople and technicians to increase referrals and sales, then go to hvactrustbooks.com now and reserve your area. We're back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. I'm here with Larry Van Sant, who has taken over his dad's company when it was $750,000 and grew it to $15 million and decided that selling was his life and he really enjoyed it. So we've been talking a lot about what to do with respect to the sales process. And I teased you before the break about the witness protection program. So Larry, why don't you explain what your witness protection program is?
Well, basically, a prospect has a process, excuse me. Your prospect always has a process, and typically that process is fourfold. One, he holds his cards very close to his vest. He doesn't really tell you a whole lot about what he's looking for. Secondly, he is also committing to nothing. I mean, he doesn't really tell you if it's something that he really needs or if he really likes. He doesn't say anything like that. He doesn't commit. Third, when we're actually trying to close the sale, he becomes even more evasive. And then four, he'll say something like, well, give me a call next week. Call me sometime next week. Let's see what we can do. Well, what does that mean? I call him next week. I can't get a hold of him. I can't get him by text. I can't get him by email. I can't get him by phone. He's in the witness protection plan. I can't find him at all. So how do we resolve this? How do we keep this from happening? We call it a clear future, Ruth. Before, if somebody says we're going to call, give me a call sometime next week, we back up and say, well, look, we both have our calendars here now. Why don't we just get a clear future? Let's set up an appointment now so that, we're both going to be available and we can talk and see what the next steps are. So it saves, because I don't know how many times prior to Sandler or BS before Sandler, we looked at chasing clients. And then the only time that they come back to you is when they need more information. So, one, they hold things close to their vest. Two, they want to know what you know. Okay, so any information they can get, the only reason that you may be there is basically to do unpaid consulting. Then three, they commit to nothing. And then four, they go into the witness protection plan, unless they need more information from you and they'll call you back.
So how do we get around the witness protection plan? We set up the phone call. They still can evaporate, right?
Well, they can, but typically if they look at you and say, all right, 8 o'clock Tuesday, and then we look at them and say, okay, now, Ruth, should I write this appointment in ink or should I write it in pencil? And basically, it's sort of just a funny way of asking them, are you going to commit to this, or are you just going to, should I just scratch this out now? Those are the only things you can do. If people still don't want to talk to you or not going to talk to you, we found that this is the best technique to use in order to make sure we have a clear future and determining what our next steps are going to be.
And you also hold them to the next steps too. It's like, not only should I put this in pen or should I put it in pencil, you say, okay, what's going to be the outcome of the conversation, right?
Yeah, at this time, we'll do a little bit of an upfront contract. So, Ruth, I'm going to call you next Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning, your time. And at that time, we can discuss any of the other issues that you have or any questions you may have. But also, we're hoping that we can go ahead and, figure out what our next steps are going to be. And if I'm a good fit, great. If I'm not a good fit, that's fine as well. Because in sales, you get no's, and people, they get so much head trash over a no. But, the bottom line is a no is actually a goal achieved. It's just not it's not the result we want. But we've achieved the goal. We've got the answer. And if you close at 50%, you're going to have 50 no's out of 100.
Yeah.
If you close at 70%, you're going to have 30 no's. So a no, when I get 10 no's in a row, I'm saying, hey, this is great. I'm going to get 20 yeses. So this is just great. Let's just keep putting keeping the behavior going in the same direction.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that I've never asked, so you're probably going, oh my gosh, what is this question? You did a lot of work with sales guys, and you were selling when you took over and took over the company. If you had Sandler when you had your company, what would have happened?
Well, we brought Sandler in towards the end, and our actual closings that I saw, along with all the other mechanical contractors we've done, have gone up, 25% on the average.
So you did it by trial and error for many, many years, and it's time, okay, let's get trained and let's do it right.
Exactly right. And, we brought in trainers before Sandler that were features and benefit guys, but our margins went up. Our average ticket went up over $2,000. And that average ticket went up because we were showing the client that we just weren't selling. We weren't letting the client commoditize us. We weren't selling a Train ABC unit or a Linux ABC unit where they say, well, this is the same unit, but it may be the same unit, but we're not the same. Correct. So those are really and truly, that's what Sandler does. And what we also found is that we ended up eliminating people that were basically price shopping, just kicking the prices, kicking the tires, that we would call that. And the other thing is that we found that we also got a better caliber of clients, because one of the things at the end, we always ask for a referral. And people tend to refer people that they like, and they refer people to whom they like. So it was a good match. Cool.
Very good. All right. So if somebody wants to talk to you and have you help them with their salespeople and their sales process, where do they go?
They can go to www.vansant.sandler.com.
Okay. And see whether that helps you increase your closing rate as well as increase your average ticket price. And you did it with $2,000 or more, which is actually kind of cool. All right. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you, Ruth. It's always a pleasure.
My pleasure. And thank you for joining us. Choose one thing that you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Help a fellow contractor make money too. For comments or suggestions, call me at 770-729-0258 or email Ruth King at hvacchannel.tv. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day.